Namastrishtamanam Api Sachi Puchamacha Surupam Urupam Tashagrajam Uruparamatoram Gostavatam Radha Kundam Girivaram Aho Radhikamadavayasyam Prapto Yacha Pratita Kripaya Shri Guru Tanatosmi Gurave Gurachandraya Radhikaya Tadaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namah Bande Guru Misha Bhaktam Isha Misha Vatarakam Tad Prakasham Tatat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Samgyakam Bande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodatu Gododa Puspavantu Chitru Sandhu Tamonatu Anapitam Chiram Chirat Karunyavatana Kalo Samapaitam Anatam Dwalam Rasam Shri Bhakti Shriyam Haripurata Sundara Duti Kandamba Sandipita Sarita Kandas Paratu Vasachinandana Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Ladini Shakti Asmit Ekatmana Vapi Buri Bedam Gato to Chaitanyakyam Prakitam Adunana Twat Tadvayam Chakyam Aptam Radha Bhav Duti Savolitam Nomi Krishna Sarupam Chaitanya Charanam Bhoja Makandaleho Vijay Yesham Prashada Matrena Paramapyamo Bhavad Bande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Krishna Bhavamritam Heya Asvadaya Svadayam Bande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Bhaktanugraha Kataram Yena Kanapi Santastam Bhakta Tatena Shradaya Bande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Bhaktanu Krishna Bhavamritam Hiya Asvadya Svadayam Bhaktam Premi Dikshama Sikshayat Pangam Lagayate Salam Mukhamavatayak Shrutam Tat Kripatamaham Bande Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Durgami Patimayanda Chiskala Padagatayamo Swakripayasti Danena Shantu Shantavalammanam Shri Rup Shri Sanatana Bhata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhata Dasa Raghunath H.I. Guru Karan Charana Vandana Yaha Hoite Vignana Savistaparam Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda So Srila Prabhupada writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Lord Krishna is not as magnanimous, he is not as kind, he is not as generous as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is considered more kind, more generous, and more merciful. Therefore it is described that the mercy of Lord Chaitanya is adbhuta. Adbhuta means astonishing. It's completely astonishing. Lord Chaitanya's kindness and mercy to the living entities. Chaitanya Bhaktavatsala Kahite Nat Pari. Krishna's Kaviraj describes the word Bhaktavatsala. Bhaktavatsala means Bhakta means devotees, Vatsala means love and affection. So the Lord is full of love and affection for his devotees. And he has so much love and affection for his devotees, kahite nat pari, that Krishna's Kaviraj says, I cannot really describe it. It's beyond description. Words defy it. I'm not able to properly describe the affection and mercy and kindness that Lord Chaitanya has on the conditioned souls. It's described when Lord Chaitanya appeared 500 years ago, every living entity in the Brahmanda got liberated. What's a Brahmanda? A Brahmanda is a universe. We're living on the Earth planet, which is one planet in the smallest universe. So this is the smallest Brahmanda. It's the smallest Brahmanda. But everyone within this Brahmanda Merebank, right? I stayed here in Merebank. I actually lived here, right where the aircraft comes down. Like if you project upwards, that's exactly where the aircraft exactly came over Rakesh's house and Ananga Mohini's house. Exactly. Like if someone had to throw something out of the window, it would have landed right on the roof of the house. And how many times I stayed with you? Twice. So I know what it's like. Maybe. It's funny, inside the aircraft it doesn't make so much noise, does it? Huh? It's outside. Huh? All right, I will continue. Obviously the 6 Goswamis did not have to contend with that. Because they hadn't flown yet in those days. It was only the Wright brothers that discovered flying. 1902. All right, so what was I saying? Come remind me. Oh, Adbhuta. Adbhuta means astonishment. So yes, every living entity in this universe actually was liberated. So Lord Chaitanya is so kind. So Lord Chaitanya, he traveled in South India. Sometimes people say this is not South Indian, this Krishna consciousness. I'm Tamil. I'm a Telugu. But actually all the acharyas came from South India. Ramanuja Acharya, Sankaracharya, Nimbakacharya, Vishnu Swami, they all came from South India actually. And Lord Chaitanya traveled in South India. After he took sannyas, he traveled, and his idea was to give out Prem Nam Sankirtan, to give out love of God to the many living entities as he traveled. So Lord Chaitanya would enter a village, and just by seeing Lord Chaitanya, everyone became a devotee. They began to chant Krishna and Hari and all the holy names. They were all merged in great ecstasy of love, and they began to dance raising their arms. Text 117, after hearing them chant the holy name of Krishna, others also became Vaishnavas in those villages. So Lord Chaitanya would chant the holy name, and he would convert. Then those people who were converted would go and convert others. Then they would go and convert others. And this way Lord Chaitanya's mission expanded. Text 118. By hearing the holy name of Krishna, the entire country became Vaishnava. It was as the nectar of the holy name of Krishna overflooded the entire country. Text 119. After some time, when Lord Chaitanya manifested his external consciousness, a priest of the temple that he was visiting, which was the Kurma deity, gave him various offerings. So Lord Chaitanya went to visit a temple in South India. That was the Kurma temple. It was Kurma. Kurma is an incarnation of the Lord that appeared as half, what? Tortoise. You've seen tortoise? turtle. Sri Chaitanya's mode of preaching has already been explained, and I shall not repeat the explanation. In whatever village the Lord entered, his behavior was the same. Text 121. In one village, there was a Vedic Brahmin named Kurma. He invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home with great respect and devotion. So in one village, there was a Brahmin called Kurma Brahmin. This Brahmin brought Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home, washed his lotus feet, and with his family members drank that water. When exalted personalities visit your house, you're supposed to wash their feet. You can, if you like, also drink the water. Three things are very powerful. Three things are very powerful. Dulapat, Jalpat, and there's a third one, the remnants of the Lord's Prasad. Dulipat means the dust. Duli means the dust from the pat. Pat means feet. The dust from the feet of Vaishnava. Jalpat means the water from the feet. Then the remnants of Prasad. But there's two types of Prasad or remnants. One is the instructions, and one is the actual food. You understand? Mahaprasad, but you give it to the deity, you give it to the Lord's devotees, it becomes Mahaprasad. So what's more important? The Mahaprasad of the Lord's devotee, or the instructions of the Lord's devotee? How many people think it's Mahaprasad that's more important? Raise your hand. Go on, don't be shy. Raise your hand. Wrong. Totally wrong. It's the instructions which are more important. The instructions of the prasad of the devotee, that's more important. Quite often we see devotees, when it comes to the Mahaprasad, they get very anxious. Oh, I want some. Like in India. They push forward for the Mahaprasad. When it comes to the instructions, no. They can't follow the instructions. But they want the Mahaprasad. So they haven't really understood. The real prasad of the devotees is the instructions. So this Brahmin, Kurma, he brought Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home, washed his lotus feet, and with his family members drank that jal or water. That Kurma Brahmin, with great affection and respect, made Mahaprabhu eat all kinds of food. After that, the remnants were shared by all the members of the family. So if you can do this, it's nice. You invite Vaishnavas to your house, you wash their feet, you feed them, and then you take the remnants. This is good. Text 124. The Brahmin then began to pray, "O my Lord, your lotus feet are meditated upon even by Lord Brahma, and these very lotus feet have come into my home. My dear Lord, there is no limit to my great fortune. It cannot be described. Today my family, birth, riches have all been glorified." So there's no limit to my great fortune. Bhagya. Bhagya means great fortune. Mora bhagya. Everyone wants good fortune. Am I correct? What is good fortune? Becoming a black belt in Kung Fu Karate? Sholang Teek? Bruce Lee Karate? It's so ridiculous because these people, they're learning how to defend themselves. Is it not? But they don't know that they're very idle. Bruce Lee, who was at the height of his career, had a brain hemorrhage and died. What is the use? Being so fit, being so expert in the different katas, that means movements, and then you get a brain hemorrhage and then you die. That's what happened to Bruce Lee. What's the use? So of course it's recreational, especially for young kids. So in one sense, even in our Gurukul in Mayapur, they do this karate and stuff. But the point is that the children know what's the real goal. And the real goal is spiritual life, not to hit a sandbag and shout out. What do they shout out? Whatever it is. Some mantra. It's a mantra. They're chanting mantra. It's a mantra, but it's for physical strength. It's to overcome the enemy. How do we overcome the enemy? So many enemies we may have. How do we overcome the enemies? Take shelter of Krishna. Is it not? By taking shelter of Krishna, we overcome the enemy. What are the real enemies? The uncontrolled mind. The mind makes you depressed. The mind creates an illusion. And then time factor, also enemy, time factor. But for a devotee, time factor is not an enemy. For a devotee, the devotee welcomes the time factor, no harm, no problem. But for the non-devotee, they don't like the time factor. Why? Can anyone give an answer? They're afraid of death. Yeah, you see, the non-devotees, they think there's only one life. So they better enjoy as much as they can, because when they die, they think everything is finished. That's their idea. When they die, everything is finished. So therefore, they want to live as long as they can. And death comes along and shortens your life. So therefore, they don't like death. But as devotees, we know when we die that we'll take birth again. Therefore, we're not so worried about death. We're not worried about it. And I've seen this practically with the one devotee, Shruti Kirti Prabhu, who you all know. He's dying, but he's not disturbed. He's not lamenting. He's not crying. He's not weeping. He's not collapsing. He's not in mental anxiety. His intelligence is completely under control, but he's dying. And maybe he only has a few weeks to live. So he's welcoming death. Death will actually be good. He's welcoming, because his body is wasted now. Better he continues again in his next life. So we don't worry about death. It doesn't really bother us. It's just another chapter. There's a book with unlimited chapters. So there's one chapter, you're born in Durban, you're born in Merebank, you're a man, you're a woman. Your next chapter, you may be born in India. You may be born on the higher planets. You may join in Krishna's pastimes. That's the next chapter. And in every chapter, there's different characters. Like in your last life, you had a mother, you had a father, you had a husband, you had a wife. And in this lifetime, you have a certain wife and a certain husband. Every chapter, there's different personalities. And they don't overlap from one chapter to the next. Your wife in this life, or your husband in this life, you won't get to see them in your next life. It's sentimental if you think. Sometimes the Hindus think, the grandfather has now been born as the grandson. The grandmother's now being born as the granddaughter. Sentimental. And they even call the grandson and granddaughter the name of the grandfather, isn't it? It's very sentimental. The example given is there is a stream. There's a stream, a river. And on that river, sometimes some twigs come together and touch due to the force of the current. And then those twigs are separated. So sometimes we come together and we touch each other. You're my wife, you're my husband, you're my child. You're my daughter, you're my son. But then those twigs separate again. And they don't meet again. So, my dear Lord, said the Brahmin, there's no limit to my great good fortune. So the great good fortune is to take shelter of Krishna. Not to make money. Not to surround yourself with so many family members. Or get a black belt in karate. Or to be the local minister in Merebank. Member of Parliament or something. The Brahmin begged Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, kindly show me favor. Let me go with you. I can no longer tolerate the waves of misery caused by materialistic life. So the Brahmin, the Kurma Brahmin, is telling Lord Chaitanya, let me leave my family. I want to leave my wife and children. And I want to go with you. Why? I can no longer tolerate the misery of material life. So have all of you experienced the tough misery of material life? I think you're all part of a family and you all have family members. Often those family members don't do things you want them to do. Isn't it? Or they don't cooperate and they put you in anxiety. You become attached to children. Children get ill or they die. Or domestic problems. Has everyone experienced what we would call domestic problems? The wife, husbands, have you experienced that? Some friction with the wife? Yes or no? Yes, wives? Can I say honestly that you've experienced some friction with the other half? The husband who doesn't always cooperate and who you don't always see eye to eye? Am I correct? Yeah. So I can no longer tolerate the waves of misery. I want to leave my wife. I want to leave my husband. I want to leave my children. Who else said this? Srila Prabhupada? How old was he when he said that? He was 58. 1954. He told his wife. What did he tell his wife? Tea or me? Tea or me? Because his wife used to drink tea. But it was more than that. She never used to help him in preaching. And then one time she bartered his Bhagavatam. So she was like a thorn. She wasn't cooperating. So finally Prabhupada said, you have to choose spiritual life or material life. Which is it going to be? And she chose material life. So Prabhupada left. He became Dhira. What does Dhira mean? Sober. You just leave. You get up and go. So in the middle of the night, that's what he did. He got up and he left. Govinda Maharaj did the same. He left his family. Just left. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also left his family. Now, are we ready to leave our families? No. Are you ready? Husbands? Yes. No. Are you ready, wives? Yes. So let's see what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. Listen carefully. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, don't speak like that again. Better to remain at home and chant the holy name of Krishna always. That's interesting. What does Prabhupada say? It is not advisable in this age of Kali to leave one's family suddenly, for people are not trained as proper brahmacharis and grihastas. Therefore, Mahaprabhu advised the Brahmin not to be too eager to give up family life. Better to remain with the family and become purified by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So that's interesting. So in other words, to leave is all right, but not suddenly. So this is the Vedic process. That the first 25 years, a man or a woman remains celibate. At least that's according to Vedic culture. Then around about 25, they marry. And they remain in married life around about 50 years. And then round about 50ish, that's when someone retires. You take Vanaprast. And again you visit the holy places, and there's no sexual relationship. Although the wife may be with the husband, it's a slightly different relationship. And then at the very end of one's life, one takes sannyas. You can do that. So that's really the Vedic process. Gradual. If we do things too suddenly, it backfires. And we've seen that in the Hare Krishna movement. In the early days, in the 1970s, Prabhupada, 1960s, 1970s, Prabhupada gave sannyas to many young devotees. But they couldn't maintain the sannyas. They were 20 years old, 21, 22, they couldn't handle it. And they fell down. 90% of Prabhupada's sannyasis had a problem because it was too young. But Prabhupada did that for a special purpose. Because Prabhupada knew there was an emergency. And he had to preach as much as he could, as fast as he could. So the example given is, if there's a tornado, if there's a terrible cyclone, and in the middle of the cyclone, you get a few pieces of wood, you tie them together, your house blows down. But you get a few pieces of wood, a few pieces of corrugated steel, corrugated iron, they call it, and you just tie it together and you make a small little shelter. Is that all right? That's good. But when the storm is finished, if someone comes along and looks at that little shelter and laughs and says, look at that. That wasn't very well designed. That wasn't very well built. It's half falling down. But they don't understand that in the presence, under the circumstances, there was a cyclone, there was a tornado, that it was quite a reasonable thing. So Srila Prabhupada, in the middle of, towards the end of his life, he saw, I don't have many years to live, let me preach as much as I can. The storm of Maya was blowing very fiercely, so he did what he could do with the material he was given. So whether it was sannyasi or grihastri made no difference. He said, just go and preach. So in London, he sent 3 grihastha couples to go and preach. He sent one 16-year-old boy, Shivananda, to Germany to preach. He sent sannyasi to South Africa to preach. He just did the best he could with whoever Lord Chaitanya sent him. But now in our Hare Krishna movement, we have, according to GBC rule, one is not encouraged to take sannyas until one is at least 50 years old. And if one was married, then you got to get permission from the wife in writing. In other words, it's a much more serious thing now. But in the old days, they used to give sannyas. People were 25, 26, 27, 30 years old. You see? Quite often someone would get sannyas because they were fed up with their wife. They got fed up with the wife, which is not surprising. So they told the temple authorities, let me take sannyas. And they ran away. But that's not... In other words, the desire for sex life was still there. Subtle sex life, gross sex life. They weren't fit to take sannyas. So it's better you wait till later on in life. So this is the point Prabhupada is making. That it is not advisable in this age of Kali to leave one's family suddenly. Do things gradually. gradually do things. Gradually detach yourself from the family. Gradually get more involved in Krishna consciousness. So then Lord Chaitanya spoke a very famous verse, which is appropriate to all of us. Yari deka tari kahe Krishna upadesh amara agya guru hana tara edesh. Yari deka tari kahe Krishna upadesh amara agya guru hana tara edesh. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Krishna as they are given in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. In this way become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in the land. Now these are very important instructions. Listen to what Prabhupada says. This is the sublime mission of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Many people come and inquire whether they have to give up family life to join the society. Do they? No. It is not our mission, Prabhupada says. One can remain comfortably in his residence. We simply request that everyone chants the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And if one is a little literate, one can read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. That is so much the better. Who has read the Srimad Bhagavatam here? Raise your hand. No? Haven't read the whole 12 cantos? You read? Kunti? No? There's only a few of us. All right. Who has read Bhagavad Gita from cover to cover? Good. Sinisha? All right. Put your hand down. All right. Who's read first canto of Bhagavatam? Something. Who's read second canto of Bhagavatam? Something. Who's read third canto of Bhagavatam? Fourth canto? Fifth? Sixth? I'd read every one of Prabhupada's books. Of course, in those days there was only 6 of them. When I joined in 1973, there was only, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books. I read them all. Anyhow, that's why Prabhupada says, if one is a little literate and inclined, one could read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, so much the better. So, instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord. Yari deka. Deka means to see. Everyone you see, whomever you see, Krishna upadesh. Upadesh. Give them the instructions of Lord Krishna. So everyone you see, everyone you meet, this means your family members, your neighbors, you try to tell them about Krishna. And then Lord Chaitanya says, Amara Agya Guru. On my order, become a guru. You don't become Diksha Guru, but you become Siksha Guru. What does Siksha mean? Give instruction. And try to liberate everyone in the land. So this is Lord Chaitanya's mission. And Prabhupada writes, this is the sublime mission of ISKCON. And then Lord Chaitanya said, Mahaprabhu further advised the Brahmin Kurma, if you follow this instruction, your materialistic life at home will not obstruct your spiritual advancement. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further advised the Brahmin Kurma, if you follow this instruction, your materialistic life at home will not obstruct your spiritual advancement. Indeed, if you follow these regulated principles, we will again meet here, or rather, you will never lose my company. So you'll never lose the company of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu if you follow those instructions. What were those instructions again? Whoever you meet, instruct them, Krishna Upadesh, Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. In this way become a guru and liberate everyone in your country. That means Merebank, Chatsworth. It does not matter whether one lives in a holy place like Vrindavan, Navadvip, Jagannath Puri, or in the midst of an African city like Merebank. Where the materialistic way of life is very smelly. Sorry about that. No offense, man. Merebank does have a reputation. Wherever he or she lives, he converts that place into Vrindavan and Navadvip. So you can turn your house into Navadvip, Vrindavan. Your house should have a nice altar. It should be nice, prominent. Lights, flashing Christmas lights, something. It should be nice. It should look nice. Once a week or twice a week, you put some flowers there. You have silk flowers. Have some nice brass pots and things around it. Make it look nice. Then on the wall, you have pictures. You can get the calendars. You can block mount the pictures and put them around the house. Create like a temple atmosphere. Make the kitchen a sacred place. The kitchen is where you cook and then you offer the food to Krishna. If you can have one room which is your temple room, that's good. Many of us live in smaller houses and you have so many family members and you can't. So the temple has to be part of a room, like the living room. That's also all right. But if you can make one room itself, but it should be prominent. And every day you chant Krishna's name and try to preach to your family members, friends, neighbors, even if they're not interested. What you do is twice a year on Diwali is coming up, and Janmashtami, or maybe Ram Navami, 3 times a year, Ram Navami, Janmashtami, Diwali. Cook some very nice prasad, biscuits, some sweets, sandesh, something nice, and wrap it up nicely and give it to your neighbors and family members and say, this is a gift. I cooked this myself. I cooked it myself, and you give it as a gift or as a present to some family members. Of course, you make sure you offer it first to Krishna. And this way, they can make spiritual advancement by eating. So, then it's described when there was also a Brahmin named Vasudeva, who was a great person, but who was suffering from leprosy. Indeed, his body was filled with living worms. So there was a Brahmin called Vasudeva, whose body was full of leprosy, and there were worms. Although suffering from leprosy, the Brahmin Vasudeva was enlightened. What does that mean? Self-realized. What does that mean? Enlightened. As soon as one worm fell from his body, he would pick it up and place it back in the same location. So the little worms, he'd pick it up and say, hey, my dear little worm, woolly worm, put him back. How about that? Would you be able to do that? I don't think you'd be able to do that. You'd probably squash the worm. Isn't it? But he was so enlightened that he took his leprosy as Krishna's arrangement. So he thought it was Krishna's desire that I have leprosy and I have worms and my body smells. All right. When those worms fall, let me pick them up and put them back. Then one night, Vasudeva heard of Mahaprabhu's arrival, and in the morning he came to see Lord Chaitanya. When the leper Vasudeva came to Kurma's house to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was informed that the Lord had already left. On hearing this, he fell to the ground unconscious. When Vasudeva the leper was lamenting due to not being able to see Mahaprabhu, the Lord immediately returned. Because the Lord is in everyone's heart, he just manifested himself and he came back. When Mahaprabhu touched Vasudeva, both the leprosy and his distress vanished, and Vasudeva's body became very beautiful to his great happiness. So his leprosy was cured. The Brahmin Vasudeva was astonished to behold the wonderful mercy of Mahaprabhu, and he began to recite a verse from the Bhagavatam touching the Lord's lotus feet. He said, "Who am I, a sinful poor friend of a Brahmin? And who is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, full in 6 opulences? Nevertheless, he has embraced me with his 2 arms." The Brahmin Vasudeva continued, "O my merciful Lord, such mercy is not possible for an ordinary living entity. Such mercy can be found only in you. Upon seeing me, even a sinful person goes away due to the bad smell from my body. But you have touched me. Such is the independent behavior of the Supreme Lord." So this Brahmin Vasudeva, his body was smelling. I would imagine it was something like someone who has gangrene. Did you smell a person who has gangrene? It's terrible, isn't it? Huh? Who smelled gangrene? It's like smelly cheese multiplied 1,000,000 times. But it's not smelly cheese. When I say smelly cheese, I mean gorgonzola. But that's natural. But when you get it from the human being, it's disintegrating flesh. People who have gangrene and their body is slowly rotting, then it's the smell of rotting flesh. You're smelling rotting flesh, and it's terrible, terrible smell. So this Vasudeva had that type of smell because his flesh was rotting. You wouldn't want to go anywhere near him. I was thinking about this when reading. If I met a devotee who had leprosy, I would be a little cautious about going near him. I wouldn't really want to preach to him so much. But if one is equiposed, then it shouldn't disturb you. Sanatana Goswami one time had rotting, open sores all over his body, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to embrace him. And Lord Chaitanya said that if I didn't embrace you, or if I avoided you, I'd be guilty of not being equiposed. And a sannyasi is supposed to be equiposed. Being meek and humble, the Brahmin Vasudeva worried that he would become proud after being cured by Mahaprabhu. To protect the Brahmin, Mahaprabhu advised him to chant the Hare Krishna mantra incessantly. By doing so, he would never become unnecessarily proud. So the Brahmin became a little worried. He thought, now I've got a very beautiful body. I've been cured. Maybe I'll become proud. So this is an important point. Whenever we get some special opulence, we generally become proud. Is it not? If you get a little bit of money, what happens? Proud. If you get a good daughter-in-law or son-in-law, you become proud. You move to a new house, you become proud. You get a new car, you become proud. Get a new pair of shoes, you become proud. Isn't it? You know, you're wearing your new socks, you're wearing your new sari on Sunday, you become proud. Look at my sari. Am I correct? Ladies? So we become proud so easily. What to speak of when you get first initiated? When you get first initiated, you think you're a Mahabhagavad. And when you get Brahmin initiated, you think you're an avatar. Right? Right? You think you're an avatar. I'm the 27th avatar. My name is just missed out in the Bhagavatam, but actually, for anyone who can read it between the lines, there it is. I'm an avatar. Look at my thread. Here, look. I want everyone to see it. I go around like this. Look. Brahmin. Walk around like this. Is that like a robot? I've seen Brahmins, they go like this before they use the phone. They touch the phone. So anyhow, we get very proud. So one has to be very cautious of being proud, because being proud is our worst enemy. And pride comes before a fall down. Before you deviate in spiritual life, you become proud. So you've got to be very careful of being proud. And you can become proud about almost anything. As I said, you get initiated, you have a nice name, you become proud of it. You get some position, you get some recognition, you get a pat on the back by the authorities, or the guru thanks you, you become proud. You have to be very, very careful. It's so easy to get proud. Materialists are always proud. Always very, very proud. So Vasudeva, the Brahmin, was afraid of becoming proud, which was good. We should also become afraid of becoming proud. So what did Lord Chaitanya tell him to do? Chant incessantly. What's the word? Nirantara, which means constantly, continuously, without cessation. And antara means sporadically. Nirantara means constantly, continuously, without cessation. So really chanting Krishna's name keeps you in a humble position. It's the best way to do it. But sometimes we can't always chant all the time. It's a problem. So these two great devotees, Vasudeva and Kurma, they were both given the mercy by Mahaprabhu. So what was that verse? Do you remember again? Yari deki kahe tara kahe Krishna upides amara agya hana amara agya guru hana tara edej. Yari deka tari kahe. What's the English? Whoever you meet, deki, whoever you see, Krishna upides, which means instructions of Krishna. So what's Krishna's most important instruction in Bhagavad Gita? Just become my devotee. What is it? Sava dhamma parityaja mamekam shanam braja aham tam sava papebhyu moksheshi ma suchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall protect you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. You preach that. If that's all you know, then just preach that. Go to people and tell them. And that's perfect. Even if you haven't read the whole Bhagavatam, you just tell people that's good enough. Prabhupada gave the example, if a young child, if a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old child comes and points at this and says, that's a cartel, or that's a microphone, then the child is correct. The child doesn't really know what is a microphone, but it's correct. The child is heard from the parents and is just repeating what the parents have said. So it's correct. So we should try to do this. Krishna Upades, the instructions of Lord Krishna given in Bhagavad Gita and in Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Radharanath ki jai, Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Hari ki jai, Shri Panchatattva ki jai, Go Premanandi. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask? No questions? Is everyone chanting Krishna's name here? At least one round? Good. And gradually go to 2 rounds and 3 rounds and 4 rounds. Gradually 5 rounds, 6 rounds. And morning is the best time for chanting. But you can chant in the evenings if you want. I chant in the evenings. Also mornings. Daytimes, all the time actually. And associate with devotees. So you do that by coming to this Namahata Thursday evening, and also the Durban Temple, Chatsworth Temple, every Sunday. And when we have the festivals, you come. Spiritual life is not difficult. If you want blessings, this is how you're going to get blessings. Chant every day, associate with devotees, and then you'll get blessings. This is how you get blessings. We all want blessings from God, Zibog. Zibog means God in Russian. That's what they call God in Russia, Zibog. So we want the blessings from Dibog. So how do you get the blessings from Dibog? You chant Krishna's name. You associate with devotees. You read the scripture. Try to read every day a little bit. Not difficult. It's quite easy. Try to fit it in. You can do it. Where there's a will, there's a way. You can easily do it. So no questions? Yes?
You mentioned that it's easy for one to become puffed up if things are happening favorably, whatever it might be. And how can we see that actually we don't have any qualification? Everything is happening by mercy of superior Vaishnavas or Srila Prabhupada and the Lord. Trying to see that.
Well, I think practically speaking, there are 3 types of people we associate with. There are 3 categories of people we associate with. And we can analyze it. Those superior to us are equals, and those lower than us. Now our superiors means guru, means Diksha Guru, means Siksha Guru, means people like Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, Kadamba Khan Maharaj. Clearly there are superiors. They have more knowledge, they're more renounced. So it's quite easy to be humble with those types of people, because the difference is quite great. The line of demarcation is very obvious. It's very easy. Then we have our equals. So we have to be equal. We have to be humble with our equals also. Those people who sort of came to spiritual life when we did, they're more or less our friends. We sort of come from the same backgrounds. We're more or less on the same level. And one has to also practice equality, friendship, tolerance, and compassion with one's equals. Now that's a little harder, because it's not always so obvious. But the real difficult one is those who are inferior to us. You may be initiated. You may have been practicing spiritual life for 4 or 5 years or 10 years. So someone comes along and they're only in the movement 1 month or 1 year. Then maybe they're bhaktas. They're not initiated. They're lower down on the level of bhakti. They may eventually overtake you, but at this stage they're lower down. They don't know so much about scripture. Now you've got to associate with them also with humility. all three types of categories of people, you need humility. And if we can practice tolerance, equality, compassion, and humility with these types of people, obviously not equality with our superiors, but this will help us. So often, it's not difficult, we can accept our authorities. It's very clear, the authorities, the GBC members or some temple authority is quite clear. Equals, it's a little bit more difficult, it's a bit more murky. We should try to also have humble dealings, pleasant dealings, friendly dealings with our equals. But now with those lower down, it's much more difficult. Those who are lower down, who aren't so advanced, who do tend to criticize, who don't respect us properly. Now you have to also practice friendship, compassion, and mercy to them as well. And they don't always appreciate you being kind and merciful to them, because the nature of a neophyte is they can't understand. But nevertheless, you should try to do that. Be friendly and be compassionate to those who are lower than you. So this is practical. You can draw a list of all the devotees you come in contact with. In your field, kshetra gya, your field of activities. And then you can put them in 1, 2, or 3 category. Right? And then you can see, are you being friendly, compassionate, tolerant to all 3 categories? Or just the first 2? Because if it's just the first 2, then you could have some problem in the future. It's got to be to all 3. Then you may say, but an advanced devotee, he thinks everyone else is more advanced than him. But that's an Uttama Bhagavad, and we're not going to imitate an Uttama Bhagavad. We're not Uttama Bhagavats, don't try to imitate. If you're an Uttama Bhagavad, yes, you will think everyone is more advanced than you. But for practical preaching purposes, the Uttama Bhagavad purposely comes down to the middle stage. And Prabhupada personally came down to that middle stage. So we can't, use that argument or logic, everyone's more advanced. That's just, it's like being a Sahajiya almost. No, we're not Uttama Bhagavats. We're struggling to be Madhyamaticaras, to tell you the truth. We're somewhere between Kanishta and Madhyams, honestly speaking. Kanishta is a neophyte devotee, and a Madhyam is a middle class. A Kanishta is almost a devotee, not quite, on the threshold of bhakti. According to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a Kanishta is praya. Praya means almost, abbas. Vaishnav abbas, not a Vaishnav, almost. You only become the Vaishnav when you come to Madhyam. So we're, between Kanishta and low class Madhyam, to tell you the truth. So we should practice this type of outlook towards these 3 types of people. Is that a bit clearer? So it's practical. Like in the temple, there's the 3rd class, those are younger, who are more immature bhaktas. There's a 2nd class, friends, we got to initiate the same time type of thing. And then clearly there's my superiors, temple authorities. We offer them respect, not necessarily because they're spiritually advanced, but out of etiquette. Temple president, vice president, department heads. Then there's the gurus, sannyasis. We don't necessarily... Better to offer respect to someone because they have deeper realization, but there's also the etiquette. And the etiquette dictates that if you see a sannyasi, you're supposed to offer your respects. So there's etiquette. There's the etiquette also. The etiquette protects us from making offenses, actually. But it's quite easy to respect superiors because it's very clear this person is my superior. And you go to them submissively. And your equals, that's a bit more difficult. But those who are lower down on the path of bhakti, that's much more difficult to respect them. Or have friendly, compassionate, merciful dealings with those who are lower down in the process of bhakti, those who are more beginners. That's more difficult, because you tend to sort of sometimes, they just don't come up to the mark, so to speak. Any other questions? Krishna consciousness is very, very practical. It's not just theoretical stuff. It's very practical. And you'll have to put into practice. Amongst your namahatas, you'll have to put into practice what we're talking about. It's easy to talk about cooperating, isn't it? You just throw out a few words. Now do it. Oh my Lord, so difficult. It's easy to talk about tolerating criticism, but wait till you get criticized. And then you blow a fuse, you hit the roof, finish, that's it. Hey, that person criticized me. Then it's action, reaction. Any questions? Everyone agrees? Everyone agrees?